What's up, guys? Welcome back to my channel. My name is Tess. If you don't know me, I am a licensed esthetician and currently I am a virtual esthetician. I no longer work in a spa, but virtual aesthetics has been such a beautiful surprise and something I am really passionate about. So I do have a video that talks about the benefits of becoming a virtual esthetician. I will link it below. And in this video, I'm going to address like how you can actually become a virtual esthetician. I posted a Instagram just talking about the benefits, and I kind of just assumed people would be able to figure it out, but I've since gotten a lot of questions like, Tess, how do you actually do that? So in this video, I'm going to explain all of my tricks of the trade. I hope it is helpful. If you haven't already watched the 8 benefits to becoming a virtual esthetician, I really suggest you check that out. I will link it below. And again, in this video, I'll be talking about how you can literally become a virtual esthetician right now. So I hope it is helpful. Thank you so much for watching. If you do like the video, please give it a big thumbs up. It really supports me. And don't forget to subscribe. And without further ado, let's get into the video. Okay, bear with me. I am going to do my best to condense all my tips and even explain the things that in my head feel self-explanatory, because I want to create a roadmap that is actually helpful for you. I know a lot of estheticians are struggling right now, so I know this video could really help some people. Even if it just helps one person, it's worth it to me, and I've had a few requests for it, so I'm gonna do my best to put all of my thoughts in this video. Okay, I'm gonna start with my first tip, which is like, let's start super basic, because I think it can grow so much from the first beginning step. So I'm going to talk about how to get your first client, because that's all you need to start. So first step, and something I always say if you're not doing this already, please do it right now. I think most of my followers know this is kind of like my MO, which is document the journey. It all starts having these future businesses, all these things. For me, started with social media, and I was not like Casey and Lorena. I was not Noise Skincare. I was not this experienced person who reached their final destination. They're all incredible. I was, like a lot of you watching, I was a beginner esthetician. All I did was share my journey. Like in real time, I shared in my highs and lows. I shared going through esthetician school, being nervous about state board, getting my license, having my first job, having that not quite work out, getting my next job, that not working out because of COVID, and the struggles of starting my own business and creating my own product line. So people have really seen the journey, they've seen the evolution, and that is something everybody can do. Find a form of social media. If it's not a million things, find one that really speaks to your abilities. If you're a great writer, maybe you make use of Instagram captions. If you like to make little fun videos, maybe you make a TikTok. If you just like to talk, maybe you make a podcast. Think about which platform would make sense for you. I promise, I know it's time consuming, but I promise cultivating social media and community and an audience, let alone a niche audience, is so valuable. Even if it feels small, and I know it's so hard to start. Like, I remember the feeling of trying to get to 30 people on YouTube. It was really hard, and it's yeah, it's not like something you do for an ego boost in the beginning, because it is really hard and you just have to have patience and put in the downtime. But that's my first tip. Start sharing either your journey if you're a new esthetician, or start sharing your expertise. If you are an established esthetician, sharing that. People want to know. There's so much that you know that you would assume your mom and your sister and your friends already know, but they don't, and they want to hear it from you. So I'm going to take it back to the beginning. Before I even started my Instagram page, I started posting on my normal personal Instagram. I would post my skin tips. From there, I started getting a few people who are interested in skin. I then saw the need and the opportunity to create a separate Instagram account, and that started attracting more people to the topic that I was really passionate about. Something that's interesting is probably 10% of my normal personal Instagram audience was interested in skincare. So it's not, those people are not going to be your main clients, but they are a stepping stone. So let's get into virtual aesthetics. Let's get back on topic. I do really think it starts with sharing that you have that opportunity and that you have that expertise. So you're going to want to give away a ton of education and knowledge for free and let people know that you're an esthetician and you offer these services. Listen to me, you do not have to be an expert when you first start. This goes for anything in life. Just start. I'm such a fan of a fast launch. You'll figure it out later. I didn't know anything about virtual aesthetics, but I just applied what I knew was important in understanding about skin to just talking to people. You're going to pick up your phone and you're going to talk to somebody about something that's bothering with them about their skin. So it's a lot more intuitive and easy than you might think. This video is going to get into the logistics of it, but I just want to make it a little bit human and normal for a sec. You can do it. It's just having a conversation about skin, which is what you already do. I said this in the previous video, if you've never worked on skin before, if you're not confident in your abilities to treat skin, you might want to get a little bit more experience first because there is a slight disconnect with virtual aesthetics. You're not able to see the skin up close, can look at pictures, but you don't have the same luxury of feeling the skin and looking at somebody in the treatment room. Okay, so first step, you are going to start with letting people know your expertise and that you offer this service. So your first step, I think, is really, if you have zero audience, you're really struggling to get your first client, my best tip is to offer your virtual consultation service for free. So there's zero barrier to entry for somebody besides their time, which is important, but all you have to say is that you are offering this expertise and service and it is free. It's on you. Don't make it seem like it's because you don't know what you're doing. Just let people know you are offering the service for free. My biggest business tip I learned from Gary Vaynerchuk is give so much for free. In the beginning, I did this for about 3 years. I worked hard. I put my head down. I filmed as much as I could and I just gave information. I gave insights into my experience. I gave and gave for free. I was willing to answer DMs. I responded to everyone. You have to give for free in the beginning. You will cultivate trust and you can adjust your prices later. But a great sort of way to hook people is offering the service for free. That is also a benefit to you because you want to get comfortable with this, and when you are charging a fee, people have certain expectations. They want to know that you're a little bit of a well-oiled machine, but I do suggest just offering maybe 5 to 10 for free. Really get comfortable, get aware of the process and things that can come up. Then maybe you have a bigger audience and you can adjust your prices. That's my first tip, just to get people in the door. Take somebody for free, give them all your attention, and let's get into the more logistical side of being a virtual esthetician. Okay, so let's talk about what you need to become a virtual esthetician. You need a client in person. You need a phone to FaceTime or some sort of device to Zoom so you can personally see people and visit with them. And you do need product. So I'm going to explain how any esthetician can start and what I do now. When I first started with my virtual aesthetics business, I had these, I was constantly actually getting DMs, which I'm sure every esthetician at some point gets that DM, which is like, hey, I have this concern, can you help me? I had somebody say, hey, I really need help with my skin right now, can you help me? I was comfortable at that point charging, so I did start my business charging people, and I'll just be totally transparent, I have changed my price significantly. It started at $50, it's now at $150 per session, and I raised that with demand when I started to feel like I was really short on time and I had to make it worth my time, and I did have the demand. I was comfortable to raise my prices, but in the beginning I started with $50. This person had said they wanted help with their skin, so I said, great, let's set up a time to talk. I had them fill out an intake form, which there are so many examples online. I will put one in the description box that you could use. I really suggest customizing your intake form in general in the spa or with virtual aesthetics. Every esthetician has a different philosophy. Mine is very holistic, so it includes sleep and stress and diet choices, health history, all these things. So I definitely customized my form, but I will put an example that you can use below. This, while it doesn't totally protect you legally because it's a free country, people can and will sue you. And I do suggest getting insurance, though it's not mandatory. I actually haven't gotten there myself, but that would be a good cushion for you. And I always explain in my intake form that I am not liable if somebody were to develop irritation or not like a product. I am not liable, and they release me from responsibility. I also put a policy about my cancellation policy. I request 48 hours if somebody were to cancel. That will be something that will probably come up. And I do put a little box where people have to confirm that they will pay me ahead of the appointment. Now, this might be strict to some. This might seem over the top. I've realized people are a lot more committed to you if they've already put their money on the line. So this works to everybody's favor. They're less likely to back out. You have assurance that they're going to show up, and that way, if you do block off the time for them and you say no to somebody else, you are still guaranteed payment. So people sign that, they know that. Haven't encountered a problem yet where that's an issue and somebody doesn't want to pay, but you could create a policy around what you feel is fair. To me, I need to protect my time, and that's how I do it. That's how I ensure people really don't cancel on me. Again, sorry if this is all over the place. I'm just trying to condense my thoughts and explain my process. So I had this person fill out the intake form. I knew, and I asked her on the form what her concerns were, what her goals were, the products she was using, her whole history and skin history, her health background, all these things. So I had a pretty good idea, much like in a spa, of what she was using and how I could structure a treatment plan for her. The next important piece of this is to ask for your client to take photos. You will see them on the FaceTime, but it's not going to do justice to their skin concerns. It's honestly almost like night and day. So what I really recommend is creating a little shared album on your phone that you can share with your client, and they can drop their photos in there. And I do ask my clients to drop photos bi-weekly, so every 2 weeks or once a month depending on what's going on. Seeing the photos is so beyond helpful, and I always ask for the photos in good lighting and to be makeup free. I always let people know it's like a no judgment zone, because I know it can be daunting, especially when people are struggling, to like take a picture of what's bothering them. It's not always fun. So I just try to be really encouraging and comforting in that whole process. Okay, so you have your client, you have your appointment time, you have your intake form, for which you can use Jotform, you can use, I believe Google Forms is a thing. There's a lot of ways to do it. You could do it through your website. You have your photos, and now you are actually ready to meet with your client. So I really think you should be promoting the service on social media. Could be your personal Instagram. I think it's best coming from your business Instagram if you have that in place. Another option is to send an email out to people who are perhaps, maybe you have a spa and you have an email list or a marketing list, some sort of like people are subscribed to your newsletter or they're your clients. You already have access to these people. You may send an email out to them letting them know that you now offer virtual services. You could also do this with family and friends if you are somebody who hasn't quite had their own business but feels confident about virtual aesthetics. You could send this out to your close network. And something I have learned is you may have to start with your mom or your best friend or somebody from your sorority, somebody who is in your DMs who wants help, and they may not, like your first client may not be your best client. They might not be your ideal client who's going to purchase all your products, like schedule follow-ups with you regularly. But if they have a great experience with you, which is why I say especially in those first appointments, do not feel like, oh, I'm giving all this away for free, I'm not getting anything back in return. Just focus on giving them a really great experience and cultivating confidence in you, and these people cultivating confidence in themselves. Because if they have a great experience, they are going to shout it from the rooftops, they're going to tell their friends, and that is all going to come back to you. I believe this in life. When people just give like for the purpose of giving and they have nothing but good intentions, it always comes back to you. So if that gives you a little peace of mind about giving your time away for free, word of mouth is still the biggest thing. It will come back to you. I also have a sample template for an email you could send out to your clients, and I will link this in the description box. I don't want to read the whole thing, but basically just letting you know I am opening my virtual practice. This is where you can find me, yada yada. So I will link that below so you guys can have a template if you do want to send a little marketing email or something like that out. Maybe it's even a direct message on Instagram and you send it out to 10 people, 100 people, it's up to you. But that is a great way to garner excitement about what you're doing and sharing it like it's something exciting. And people will want to be a part of that. I swear the excitement is the most contagious thing. Okay, so you have your client, you have your appointment time, you have your intake form, you have the photos. You are now ready for the appointment. So I essentially spend 20 minutes before my virtual consult thinking of the questions I need to ask somebody to get a sense of their skin. And full disclosure, I usually spend about an hour with somebody. You could probably do it in 30 minutes if you wanted to. Everybody has to think about like just what's best for them, what time do they need. Maybe somebody who's been in the industry longer feels confident in 30 minutes. I just like to take my time. I like to make the experience like fun and casual and just like get to know somebody. I don't like to take up too much of their time to the point where I'm talking about myself. I'm not self-aware, but I do like to bond a little bit. And like my clients so far have been very close in age to me. They're probably ages like 23 to 45. So for me, this is not everyone, but it's like a very relatable group where like we're bonding a little bit. It's not just like, hi, let's get into the questions. Like we chit chat a little bit, we get comfy, we bond, and then we get into the questions. So for me, I like an hour. I like to feel relaxed. I don't like anyone to feel stressed or like I'm just like trying to have the appointment, take their money, and like get off the phone. No, it's like very much a chill, helpful, I'm all yours for this hour or however long it takes. There are so many questions you can ask in virtual consultations, and in this part of the video, I'm just going to say and ask that you rely on your professional background to generate questions that will be most helpful for you. Some of the ones I always like to ask are, first, tell me what are your main concerns, like what are you here for? How can I make you happy? What are your goals for your skin? I always want to know exactly what somebody is using. I say, please walk me through everything you use morning and night. They send me their products ahead of time, but they might also like have them with them and we're talking about them. And then I ask, like, is there anything you use that we haven't talked about? Like, what kind of makeup do you use? Do you use any oils or masks, anything supplementary, any kind of like at-home steamer, hopefully not, or like microderm device? But I really try to get to know what somebody is doing, because it could be that foundation or that peel that they're using that has caused a problem. So I really try to get as familiar with their products as possible. I always like to ask how long somebody spends washing their face. I think personally, everyone has their own philosophy. I am such an avid believer in having a morning and nighttime cleanse. I very much believe people need to spend their time with their cleanse, spend a minute in the morning and 2 minutes cleansing with double cleanse at night. For me, that sets people up for success with their skin. It's really the foundation of the routine, so that's something I ask. I like to get a sense of somebody's health, if there's any underlying inflammation or conditions they are dealing with, what kind of birth control they may be on, is their overall lifestyle. I've had a client in the past who was a welder. She was wearing like goggles and a thick mask and all this gear. So her skin was really occluded. She was sweating a lot. Her skin was she had great skin, but it was constantly faced with a lot of pollutants, chemicals, harsh toxins. So it's always good to just get an understanding of somebody's lifestyle. Are they a swimmer? Are they exposed to a lot of chlorine and alkaline water? All those things really contribute. What is their level of stress? Stress is so damaging for the skin. I like to understand, like, what have been recent life events for you? Have you recently, I wouldn't ask this, but I just like to ask about their general stress. Things that might come up are like a very harsh, stressful work life. They might be going through a breakup or a divorce, and I've had clients who are undergoing trauma that really manifests in the skin. Stress raises cortisol, signals the skin to produce more oil, so it creates a lot of inflammation, can result in breakouts. So lifestyle is huge. How do they sleep? Do they give themselves time to relax? Another huge thing for me is diet and food. I like to ask, do they have any dietary restrictions? What's a normal sort of day on their plate? They will tell me like what they would normally eat for breakfast, lunch, and dinner, snacks, if there's any treats involved, if they are like a daily wine drinker or somebody who has dairy in their coffee creamer every morning. I really get very micro, and I know that's not for everyone. For me, I love playing detective and like combing through somebody's routine. I know a lot of estheticians who are not like that. They still get very efficient results doing their treatments, and they don't pay as much attention to the lifestyle and what people eat, what they use outside of the treatment room. A lot of esties have the mentality that what people do outside of the treatment room is none of their business. And I get that. For me, it's all connected, it's all related, so I like to get a big picture view. Okay, let's assume you had a successful consultation, it's over. You probably should have like a relative idea of the game plan, what things you are going to recommend, whether it be lifestyle, products, all of that. I like to, after the appointment, I like to send a little after visit summary, and I call it a skin guide. This includes the treatment products I want my clients to get on, and I haven't had people who've been resistant to buying product. I imagine that could be a thing, but let them know it's in their best interest to work with products that you are familiar with and that you are confident can give them results. So I unfortunately don't recommend anything from the drugstore, anything like over the counter. I make sure the products my clients are using are professional products, and that is my philosophy. It's always been my philosophy. It's what I see working, so that is what I do. Okay, so we've had the consultation. I send my follow-up email with the synopsis and the products. I'm sure a lot of you are wondering, how do I recommend products if I'm not in the spa? And I will tell you how I've sort of graduated and what my initial process was. So initially, I have always felt like I'm very familiar with product and the professional skincare marketplace. So in the past, I've used brands such as Image, Is Clinical, SkinCeuticals, which those are products that people can readily purchase from sites such as Skin Store or Derm Store. In the beginning, I was creating treatment plans with a bunch of different brands, but that I was really confident in their results and knew could give them targeted results for what they want. I was working with a bunch of random brands and just using retailers like Derm Store or Skin Store a mistake. I don't know that it was a mistake, but I think it's not the route I would recommend after doing that. I never ran into everybody, luckily, has always liked their products, and I do feel very confident about the ones I chose for people. I would never recommend a product without having a good understanding of how it works as a treatment product or who it is for, but I do think that's a little bit riskier. Somebody needs to really understand the professional retail marketplace. So that might be for some people, and it might be a way to launch quickly, but I'll tell you what I think is a better option. The problem with the first method of just sending links to products I like and using outside retailers is, first, I'm not receiving any commission for those products, so the only thing I was getting out of it was giving my client results and solutions, which is certainly important, but there are definitely ways you can do it to better support yourself financially and also have support from a professional skincare line. So what I would recommend doing before starting your virtual aesthetics business is partnering with a professional treatment line. Some of my favorites, my two favorites, are Image Skincare and Glymed Plus. So Image does have a drop shipping option, and you can sign up to be a professional retailer and work with them. You can even do that as an esthetician student, which is pretty cool. What I now actually do and what I love is I work with a company called Glymed Plus. You're probably familiar if you're an Esty, and I did work with them in school. I also worked with Image in school, so I am confident in both personally, and I am familiar. I had always, both are phenomenal brands, and I love both. but I have heard such great things from a lot of SDs recently who use Glymed, so my interest was kind of piqued there, and I decided to look more into their program. They offer a great commission program where you can earn 40% commission. They also have a phenomenal support staff, so they're always there to answer any product questions or logistical questions that might come up. And how it works, I think, is pretty cool. And the system I use is I have something called Regen Pro, which is their version of like my online store. So essentially what I do is I tell my clients to register on the Glymed site. I have a personal link for my store that I send them. I tell them a list of products I would like them to purchase. I usually start out pretty slow, and clients do have to pay for shipping, $7 for shipping. So I usually have people get everything in. The products have a 2-year shelf life unless they're opened, then it's a year. So you have a pretty like long window of time. So I usually have people purchase like phase 1 and phase 2 of their treatment plan, which I recommend and lay out in the guide that I give them after our meeting. But so people are clear on what they need to buy. They just go to the store, they shop, it's fun for them, it's a personalized experience. And what's unique is it gives people access to pharmaceutical grade product. These are really effective but gentle, wonderful treatment products that they would not be able to access on their own. So that also gives you a little bit of authority, elevates you, and allows them to recognize like, I'm finally, how bizarre, I'm finally seeing results with my skincare products. It's because I'm using professional medical grade treatment products as opposed to going to Target, buying what somebody else recommended, and trying to self-diagnose and create a plan. This is so much more efficient for people. So even if you are charging something a little bit steep, which I recognize my prices are steep at $150, the value you get out of having that conversation, the value you get after learning the value you provide to people for caring for like it's their face. Like this is important, and their skin is the largest organ in their body. It's very important they learn how to take care of their skin on a fundamental basis. So this, although they might have to pay a little bit to access you and the information, they can take what they learn in your meeting with them throughout their whole life. And it's really going to benefit them. It's going to help them. You're saving them money and time. So something I struggle with is imposter syndrome, or sometimes if somebody says, oh, I can't afford that, it's too expensive, I have to stay confident in my abilities and the fact that I know I'm spending a lot of time creating a personal treatment plan for you. It might seem expensive in theory, but I think it is very much worth it, and you will attract good people by pricing yourself at what you deserve. Even if you get some no's, you have to know your worth and stand by what you know to be the value of your time. So, and something else in pricing worth talking about is just, I'm at a point where I know I'm probably going to get half no's or people saying they can't afford that at this time, and I understand, and it sucks. I want to be able to help everyone, but I cannot serve people properly if I don't feel I have the time to devote to people, or I feel I'm getting shortchanged for the time I do spend on people. So I want to feel like I'm giving people my all. I'm able to fully commit myself, and to do that, you have to price yourself at what is fair and what your worth is. So in the beginning, you may have to give for free. You may have to start with a lower cost as you build your expertise, but as you get better, as you get confident, the benefit of being your own boss is you can price yourself at whatever you want, and you should price yourself at what you deserve. Okay, now I want to talk about follow-up after the appointment. So first thing to do is ask them to reach out when their products arrive, or check in with them if you haven't heard anything. Check to see they have received their products, ask if they have any questions about how to use them, and let them know that you are available to help and answer any questions they might have about using their products. Always recommend people try one new thing at a time to avoid overstimulating the skin. These are professional treatment products. They're probably a lot more potent than a lot of people are used to. So slow and steady is really my approach. I call it a slow progressive approach, or a step up approach, where we're really not rushing anything. We want to, again, avoid overstimulation or a reaction. That is the worst case scenario, and somebody would be upset that maybe the product is not for them, or that you possibly steered them in the wrong direction, when that might not be the case. It might just be too much at once. So I recommend one new thing at a time, and depending on how many products you have recommended in their treatment plan, give them a little bit of time to use the products and follow up with them. I would say maybe after a week or 2 weeks. And in the time after that, encourage them to add progress photos to the shared album. Sometimes when introducing things like retinol, the skin may get worse before it gets better, but it's good for you both to be in the loop about potential changes in the skin. In your initial appointment, I think it is really ideal to recommend the suggested time for your next meeting. You might say we should talk in a month or 5 to 6 weeks. Let them know that you want to schedule a follow-up to stay in the loop. One of the hardest things about virtual aesthetics, I think, is not letting people fall off and really staying in communication with them. It's not a one time you got the products, you're done. No, it's a journey, and you want to let them know that you're going to slowly phase in new treatment products to benefit them and their skin long term. Follow-up is really the next step, and you don't want to just be attracting new clients. You want to keep your old ones. So offer to have a follow-up appointment. It may be complimentary for you. You may charge a fee. I charge $150 for my initial consults because there's more work involved on my end in getting to know somebody new, getting to know all of their history, and talking with them, and just like starting fresh, learning so much about somebody. My follow-ups are $50, which is a lot more, I would say, like reasonable and affordable. But since I don't have to take the time to send them a treatment plan and I'm pretty familiar with them, it shouldn't be quite as much work. But justify the price based on what works for you and what makes you feel comfortable. The last thing you should do is continue to educate your clients, whether it is on your social media, on your website, through your communications with your client. Just stay in touch, keep them excited about products you're using, tools and tips and tricks that you can offer them. Continuing to give that education and value is what's going to keep more people coming back to you and educate new people about your services and allow them to discover and find you, which is one of the big benefits of social media. I think the video is getting long enough, so I'm going to end it here. I truly hope this was helpful. I'm also going to do a podcast, which I might be able to make a little bit more even more detailed than this, but I truly hope this was helpful and gave you sort of like a vision of how the process can work and can work for you. So I really encourage those SDs who feel confident in their abilities to give virtual aesthetics a try. It's really not to replace our traditional industry at all, but the industry is shifting, and I think the pandemic has really highlighted the need for people to get help with their skincare when they don't have access to a spa, which is going to be the case with or without the pandemic. So don't be nervous that, you know, this whole world of normal aesthetics, traditional working in the treatment room is going away. It is going to thrive post-pandemic as well, but this is a way to bolster your business and give you more flexibility, freedom, opportunity, and just expand the services you already do offer as well, or be a phenomenal option for SDs who want to create their own schedule, have the flexibility to work from home, and make money on a daily basis. So there's a lot of benefits to virtual aesthetics for sure. Hope this video helped. Love you guys so much. Please be sure to like it if you did like this video and subscribe for more. I'm going to leave some other helpful resources about virtual aesthetics in the description box below. I love you guys and I will see you soon.